Man, I can't imagine what it's like to be, a Super Bowl caliber team and then lose in embarrassing fashion to that team. How embarrassing. Welcome to the jungle, everyone. I'm Kyle Phelps, and everyone sucks. At least in the AFC, man. People keep asking me what my Super Bowl prediction is, and I legitimately have no idea in the AFC. Like, it feels like it's one of those years where, like, a wild card team gets hot out of nowhere and takes all the contenders by surprise. I mean, hey, maybe a certain kitty can go, I don't know, meow? Maybe something like that? I don't know. One step at a time. But before we get into all that, I'd just like to ask that you like the video and subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying the content. It really helps my channel grow, and it helps you know when all of my content comes out. As always, here's my bottom three categories. The Raiders are getting put in ultra timeout because, like, really? 3-0? That's all you got? Okay, whatever. I've got the Titans moving up quite a bit from last week because I still don't really buy them at all, and so they're still on thin ice. And I wanted to point out that, yes, the Colts are actually moving up a spot despite the loss last week. Why? Because I had them in the second worst category last week, and right now they're definitely in the playoff hunt. So, I mean, this is really more of just me correcting an oversight, but I do want to, like, emphasize they looked awful. Alright, so with that out of the way, let's move on to the playoff hopefuls. Bills, Vikings, I'm sorry. It's been an up and down season. There's been some good stuff, but there's been some bad stuff, and I really need to see a little bit more before you get your own monologue. So at number 14, the Green Bay Packers are down a few spots from last week after losing to the wannabe XFL Giants. I'm not totally writing them off as a playoff team just yet, but that was rough, man. It's still kind of wild, though, that Tom Grassi put them at 8 last week. I wonder why he did that. Tell you what, though, speaking of teams that he put at number 8, which he did this week, I'm not quite as high on the Bengals as he is, but damn, I am loving this Jake Browning run. Like, this is mostly reflective of how deep of a hole that they dug for themselves this year. It's really hard for me to be like, oh yeah, they're the number 8 team in the NFL right now, just because of where they got themselves into with really bad play. And I'm not going to forget about what happened a couple weeks ago, But I gotta say, if they do finish strong and make the playoffs, they will end up much higher than this. Number 12, I've got the Denver Broncos. And they fell back to earth last week against the Texans. And I know they won this week, but, I mean, like, come on, it was the Chargers and Herbert got hurt. So, I mean, keep winning and we'll definitely see. But for right now, I'm being a little tentative here. Finally, number 11, I got the Miami Dolphins. Super Bowl contenders my ass. Bro, they had it against the Titans and they blew it. Man, I can't imagine what it's like to be, a Super Bowl caliber team and then lose in embarrassing fashion to that team. How embarrassing. Next up, we got the contenders, and we're going to start with the Jacksonville Jaguars at number 10. They lost to a very good football team in the Cleveland Browns this week, and you got to imagine that if, Trevor Lawrence doesn't throw 3 picks, the Jaguars take that. He definitely isn't going to do that every week, so keep that in mind. Number 9, it's the Kansas City Crybabies. I mean, the Chiefs. That's... God, who wrote this script? Jesus Christ. You know what, though? Poor little Chiefs can't handle the fact that the refs don't love them no more. In seriousness, though, guys, I've been saying all year that going from Eric Bieniemy to Matt Nagy was going to make a way bigger difference on this offense than people are anticipating. That said, this is still a very talented football team, and they've still got a solid defense, so putting them any lower than this, honestly, I feel like is a bit premature at this point. Number 8, the Houston Texans no longer look like Super Bowl contenders. And part of that's, CJ Stroud got hurt. Hopefully he's not going to be out too long. And, when he comes back, we'll see what happens. But for right now, I'm a little, skeptical of the Texans right now. Number 7, the Seattle Seahawks. They were doing pretty well this week against the best team in football with Drew Lock at quarterback. Frankly, the wheels came off in the fourth quarter, but when Geno Smith comes back, I think this team is dangerous. But Kyle, They lost. How could they rise 2 spots from last week when they lost this week? I mean, frankly, the whole NFL is kind of sus right now, guys. So the Seahawks are really just benefiting from the dive bombing, honestly, of basically everybody else in this tier. Speaking of dive bombing, remember when the Lions were at number 2 not too long ago? Well, they're at number 6 right now, and I don't see a Super Bowl caliber team anymore, y'all. I see a solid team with a bright future that's probably going to lose in the divisional round. Finally, your current Super Bowl caliber teams. I've got the Philadelphia Eagles still in this category despite a rough last couple of weeks. That said, despite that 2-week skid, they're still 10-3. That's the crazy thing. The good news is they have plenty of time to get their shit together for revenge on the Niners and Cowboys in the playoffs. Number 4? You're welcome, Thomas. It's Joe Flacco's Cleveland Browns. Bro, Flacco looks like he's 11 years younger and already in playoff form. Pair that with a defense that is frankly underperforming for what they're capable of, and, I mean, yeah, the Browns are on the rise, and there's no denying it. Number 3? You're welcome, Majestic YT. How about them Cowboys? Yeah, the Cowboys look as good as anyone right now, guys. They've come a long way since losing to the Cardinals and getting blown out by the 49ers. So, I mean, that's why I was skeptical, but they're looking really good right now. Number 2, the Baltimore Ravens. Like, they're so close to not being good, guys. It's crazy. The season really is about the finest of margins, and I think the Baltimore Ravens are the perfect example of that. But the fact of the matter is, they keep winning, and right now, no one in the AFC looks better than these birds. That leaves number 1, the San Francisco 49ers. That was a strong finish they had against the Seattle Seahawks this week. I think they proved that they deserve the number 1 seed in the AFC after that game. So as a recap, here's the whole power rankings list once again. I want to hear from you about what you think. Tell me where your favorite team deserves to be. I'll start. The Bengals should be at number 1 because they're awesome and you're all just haters. No, they really don't. But damn, it does feel good to be relevant again. I'm not going to lie. Anyway, as always, I'll feature the best comments on my next video, like this one from Majestic YT, who said on my last Power Rankings video, we a top 3 team. Once we beat Philly on Sunday, I hope to see us at least at 2. Out of all the top teams, we have the best win streak right now. 7 is far too low. And look, man, I just couldn't get the loss to the Cardinals and the blowout to the Niners out of my head when I made those rankings. But, you know, I said I'd put them in the top 5 this week, and I didn't put them at 2, but, you know, I put them pretty close, so, you know, here you are. Are you happy? Until then, y'all can always catch more of what I do at KylePhelps92 on Twitter and TikTok, Facebook.com/ThePhelps, Butt Fumble Sports, the Battle of Ohio podcast, and right here, if you subscribe. Starting to get to the point in the season where we see what everyone is made of. So I'll leave y'all, as always, with a hoo-day!